All right, we're live. We're back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie today. Richie, how we doing, man?
Doing a lot better since we're home now. It's been an interesting day. I'll just leave it at that. But we're all home, and it's Thursday, Friday Eve, and can't complain, Duke. How about you, man?
Yeah, can't complain at all. It is Friday Eve. It is a couple days post National Championship. There is some things that are rolling around on the internet. Marcus Freeman is a finalist for the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year. Um, don't know, didn't know if a lot of people knew that or not, or had seen that, but I think it's well deserving for Marcus being in the spot that he put Notre Dame in for this year.
I would have to agree with that. On
Battling.
occasion, who else? I mean, if Ryan Day's up for it, maybe him. But I think Marcus has done a fine job with him this year.
You know, one of the strange stats that I looked at whenever I was putting this segment together is that if you go back and look at how many times Ohio State has had a Coach of the Year, it's pretty much never. I don't think
Yeah,
Urban.
I don't think Urban did.
I don't think I think the only time Urban possibly won Coach of the Year was maybe when he was at Utah or Bowling Green or something, but didn't see that at all. But yeah, I think there's some pretty good candidates up there. Marcus has got to be up there. Uh, the last Big Ten Coach of the Year from Ohio State is Earl Bruce. So there you have it. That is really really cool thing to look at it. I don't know if producer Ed from behind the scenes could maybe pull that art picture that was posted. I know Carter and his mom were tagged a bunch of times in Minnesota
Hmm.
Sports. Did you see that picture?
Yes,
Um,
I did see that. I did see that
oh,
on the Twitterverse, Twitter things and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of that was kind of touching seeing Haskins there and Coach Bruce and what Herbstreit's dog.
yeah, I kind of don't know. I stand corrected. Day won it in 2019. Well, that explains a lot on how Day won that award. But going into this, where we're at, So I don't know. We'll see how well if Marcus has a chance to win this award or not. But I would lean towards he should win it. National runner up. They didn't get didn't get the job done. But I think it was a heck of a season to reel off 13, 14 wins in a row. Um,
That's a hell of a stat. Hell of a stat for Marcus.
so that's where it's at. And then we'll change. Yeah, Sid here with the comment, and we also got TikTok live going as well too. Rich, Marcus Freeman did less with more. I can't argue that. The outside skill positions, I think it didn't rear its head until it did, and um, that's where it happened. Um, was in the national championship game. Yes, that picture right there. Um, you know, I think a lot goes into that. Haskins, had one of the probably the greatest year as a quarterback at Ohio State to never win never to win a national championship. You know, uh, Coach Bruce won what I believe it was 3 or 4 Big Ten titles.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
he had a lot of accomplishments too, and that's Carter's grandfather. So I know that's a pretty special moment.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for the family and everything, and you know, I mean, Earl Bruce had some of the greatest players to ever play at Ohio State. I mean,
Chris Carter,
yeah, Chris Carter,
Schleister.
Schleister. Even though people have a lot of opinions on Schleister,
Yeah.
I would call him a scumbag, and I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that. I kind of, the only thing that I pump the brakes on, Keith Byers, yeah. I The only thing I would pump the brakes on the Will Howard stuff, and I know this is going to be unpopular, but when it comes down to it, like, I think Dwayne had a better um, single season than Will Howard. I mean, I get it. Will Howard won the Natty, but like pure numbers for numbers wise, I think what Dwayne throw 50 touchdowns.
It was some ridiculous number. I think he
So,
had like 6 or 7 touchdowns against that team up north. Excuse me, that year.
and I also think that any team that was quarterbacked by Braxton Miller at Ohio State is better than this year. I'm just saying. But as far as the run, yeah, they went on a great run, and all the accolades and everything like that. I mean, that's fair. It's fair criticism, but I'm just saying that let's not. The Ohio State fan base has had the most amnesia I've ever seen in the last, I don't know, 20 years, where Justin Fry turns into Mike Munchak, and we have the 5 blocks of granite.
Mike Munchak. Oh, that's a great comparison.
Great offensive line coach, or Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
Something of that sort. You have that, and then they wanted to run Ryan Day out of town.
Oh yeah.
Like
Fiery.
the memes that were. The only thing one of the big things that I was on when it came to the Ryan Day stuff is that he had to win a playoff game. Show that they could at least bounce back, and he goes out there and wins the whole. He goes out there and wins the whole damn thing.
Whole fucking thing, like the great Jake Taylor once said. And
yeah, you got to win the whole thing. So, I don't think that's unfair criticism, but we got producer Ed in the background eating a salami sandwich. We got the top 10 quarterbacks of 2025. Here's the list. I don't know if you can read it, but we got Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, Sam Levet, Carson Beck, Lenora Sellers, Fernando Mendoza, Drew Aller, Diego Pavia, Jackson Arnold. Any disagreements on that list?
Yeah, number 3.
Arch. You got beef with Arch or what?
He hasn't really shown me anything. He hasn't. I think they're going based off his last name. All the hype of him coming in as a freshman and who his uncles are and his grandpa. He's got to show me more to be a top 3 quarterback next year. Drew Aller, I think Drew Aller should go up at least number 5. Carson Beck maybe 4. Lenora Sellers, he should be 3.
I don't know. The Sellers thing for me is not like I don't think the Sellers thing is. I think I got to see a little bit more because he kind of was injured a little bit, and then the Drew Aller thing, man, I don't know. I don't know about Aller.
Going at 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I feel like Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt had more explosive plays.
Yep, I would agree.
and you have Pavia, you have and you also have Jackson Arnold on there. I'm not going to out and out blame the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma that got fired, but their offense improved after he got fired. So, and then they go out and beat Bama.
Yeah, shocking the world there.
So I feel like that's it's a way too early list. I would say to me, Cade Klubnik is the out and out favorite to win the Heisman.
Him or Nussmeier.
You think so?
I think so. Why not? Let Brian Kelly get another Heisman, QB, but not make the playoffs.
I mean that would be like 2 out of the last 3 years. Jalen Daniels. Amen with the comment here. I'm excited to see the QB battle at Indy this spring. Lloyd Carr's grandson looks terrifying. CJ Carr does look good. Did not play this year. He looked good in the spring game. I think there's a reason why he didn't play. That we're not pulling any punches here on, maybe CJ Carr is gonna be the real deal here. And
somebody sent me in a separate group chat. They had Bryce Underwood somewhere in the top 10 for incoming for quarterbacks next year. I'm like, kid hasn't even played any. He didn't play a snap in college football yet, nor did he win a state title.
The Underwood thing is a lot of pure speculation. Although I think he's going to be good. I don't know how big of an impact he's going to have as a freshman, but I think that it's not out of the realm of possibility for Underwood to have that. And then, we got this question. I would assume it's going to be Julian Sayin, but
I would too, but we'll see which way Ryan Day decides to go come August with fall camp.
This is the third straight year that you go into the season and you don't know who the starting quarterback is at Ohio State?
Yep. Pretty kind of a little bit of a problem, I would say. Wouldn't you agree, Duke? Because we don't really know how good Julian Sayin is.
I could see where that could be an issue. Here's another thing too. Is Keenholz gonna stay? Because he hasn't hit the portal yet.
When's that portal close?
It closes 5 days after the game, and then it reopens in the spring for like 2 weeks. No, you just won the title. I wish Indy had that problem. Yeah. I don't think Notre Dame's going to add a portal quarterback unless somebody jumps in that is unexpected. And I don't know if Ewers has filled out the paperwork yet. He's declared, but Carson Beck also declared, and then a couple days later he hops in there. But I think it's February. But I think that Quinn Ewers, you're leaving $8 million on the table to go to the NFL and see if he can figure it out. But I don't know. I think he needs another year of school, but that's just me.
Hey, he's draft ready according to some scouts.
I don't know. He threw 2 less interceptions than Kyle McCord, and Kyle McCord Kyle McCord used all of his eligibility. Eamon here with a comment. St. Clair lost to my high school, a tiny school, not holding my breath. I mean, that is something that we do. I don't know if it 100% translates because I've seen kids play at IMG and then go to college and completely suck. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. But that's where we're at this point. Coldwater.
The Mighty Cavaliers. They
Eamon, you're from Coldwater, dude. I went
Coldwater.
to Jay County. It's really close.
Central played Cold. Go ahead, dude.
It's really close to where I am, to where I'm from.
Eamon, my alma mater played Coldwater 3 straight years of the state title from 14 to 16.
And lost?
No, well, Central was the 1 seed overall in the playoffs the same year. I think Joe Burrow won Mr. Ohio. And they got their ass kicked. I mean, they had a hell of a quarterback, Brody. What was his name? Oh, it's escaping me. The kid was a monster. They kicked Central's ass 62 to 21, and Central played them the next year, and they lost. And Central finally won them on a 4th and 10 on a hitch route, and it was 16-13, and it was a hell of a game. But yeah, Coldwater's always good, dude.
Yeah. And then Eamon says LMAO, Portland, Indiana, Banditos for the win. Yeah, Banditos. It's no longer there, but the crazy thing is the people that own Banditos live in Fort Wayne, and they completely closed all the locations down and reopened as a taco bar, like a Chipotle.
Not Casa Bonita.
And they're I think they're doing better business. It's called Guadalupe's. Give a little free pub there to the Fort Wayne deal. And then over here on TikTok, we've got a bunch of likes from Carter. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I think that, we're closing in on a time that we've got, we got some of the stuff. I feel like Coldwater is always contending for
D6.
Yeah, that is true. A little high school football talk. We can't beat Marion local to save. Yeah,
Marion local. Oh my God.
Over there, Maria. Over there, Maria Stein. Yeah, I feel you on that. Since Eamon's from Coldwater, he knows if you drive through Fort Recovery, everybody waves at you. When you drive by them, everybody waves at you. Isn't Marion local the team that has won 100 games in a row? It's 64, Carter. They've had 2 senior classes go undefeated. Right as they've rolled through. Yeah, they've had 2 senior classes, and then there was an interesting stat to where they had 3 or 4 kids only on the team didn't have either parent from both Maria Stein. It's over there by Chickasaw. It's in the middle of nowhere in Mercer County.
Yeah.
Because Coldwater's normally good. St. Henry used to be one of the yeah, but St. Clair couldn't beat them farm kids. That's a little rough. Ross Holman went to
Coldwater.
Yeah, he went to Coldwater. That played with James and Marcus.
Yeah, I remember Ross Holman.
Eamon, yeah, I went 6-0 against St. Henry. Yeah. If Eamon's from Coldwater, we're pretty much on this. We're pretty much on the same page when it comes to Ross Holman was a year ahead of me. Yeah. On the same page with St. Henry because the big dude that St. Henry had back in the day was Todd Beckman. I'm assuming Eamon must have played against Todd Beckman.
Todd Beckman. I remember Todd Beckman.
But Beckman was there, and then back in the 90s, it was Jeff Hardings. Jeff Hardings went to Penn State, and I never understood that. why I sacked him, why John Cooper let Jeff Hardings come out. Thanks for the likes, Brandon. Why Jeff Hardings slipped out to Penn State, I never understood that. He played for the Steelers. And then also Tressel never recruited Matt Light from Greenville either.
Isn't he a lineman?
Yeah, Matt Light played for the he played like left.
Patriots?
Yeah, he played left tackle for the Patriots forever.
Yeah.
He was Belichick's biggest op. What do we got here? I don't know. I think this is more of a Richie question.
Amanda Clear Creek? Am I right? I can't remember. I can't remember Amanda. Oh shit, that was like 20 years ago. Oh.
Oh yeah. I remember back in the day when I was younger going to McSober's over there in Coldwater, but we're at the top of the hour. We'll reset the show here and get to the last couple topics, and then we'll dive into some stuff. If you're watching out there on Twitter, come on over to the YouTube. We got tons of people in the chat tonight. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help us out. We're trying to grow this channel. And if you're watching on TikTok, come on over to the YouTube. Thanks everybody watching on TikTok, Brandon especially. That's what we're trying to do is grow this thing. But with that being said, yeah, spent quite a bit of time over there at Coldwater, McSober's, also St. Henry. The St. Henry nightclub is a very interesting spot.
Come on, Duke, tell some stories.
The Coldwater picnic's always good. If Eamon's still listening, the Coldwater picnic's a good time. Rich, this is a high school football question. Do you know anything about this?
I have never heard of Germantown.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Brandon. Appreciate it, brother. I don't know where that's at, but
I don't know where that's at either.
But anyway, well, I haven't been back in 6 years. Yeah, I feel you on that. Charger in here.
Wait.
Germantown is in Valley View. Where is that at?
It beats the hell out of me.
Huh.
I'll have to look. I'll have to look when Billy Joe knows it.
Hey, Dave's here.
Dave's here.
What
up, Dave?
Carter's favorite Michigan fan. But yeah, so we'll get back into this discussion. What is producer Ed pulling up? Yes, the way too early top 25. I wanted to spend a outside of Dayton. Yes, Dayton. This is something that I wanted to spend a good amount of time on. Do you agree with Texas being number one?
Why?
I would say
why are they number one?
I think the two teams that on this list that I don't agree with is, I mean, I get it. Ohio State's the defending champ, but they're pretty much losing the entire defense.
Yeah, the entire defense is gone. Honestly, I'd rank Ohio State at like 6. I'd have them swap with Notre Dame.
Cameron says this list is ass. Eamon says Penn State is. I don't think that there's not an argument to not say Penn State couldn't be number one, because I think both the tailbacks are back, plus Drew Aller.
Yeah.
Penn State, Notre Dame, and Miami are returning about the most. But they got Texas 1, Georgia 2, and this is for the people listening on the audio side of things. Miami 3, and it's the reason why Miami is ranked so high is because they have Carson Beck. Travis says Penn State is the only team in the top 7 returning a starting quarterback. That's crazy. Yeah, I know. Because Arch is going to be the starter. I'm assuming Gunnar Stockton's going to be the starter. Carson Beck started at Georgia last year, is now at Miami.
Ohio State question mark.
Ohio State, probably Julian Sayin. Drew Aller, yes. Notre Dame, probably CJ Carr. Oregon, no idea. Cade Klubnik coming back for Clemson. Nico, I'm assuming, is going to be back at Tennessee. Nuss at LSU. Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. South Carolina is one of the teams that I think for Beamer this year, it's shit or get off the pot, honestly. We'll know where Ohio State stands after they open up at home against Texas. I think that's a tough game week 1. I don't think it'll tell the whole story. Per se, is Duke a Pittsburgh Pirates fan or Penguins? Somewhat. I don't know. They're not very good, but South Carolina is very interesting to me. Tennessee's interesting. A lot of the teams in the SEC that didn't make playoff runs are going to be interesting to look at. Bama at 14, they might have fallen.
How about Burt Bielema and the Fighting Illini at 15, Dookie?
I think Burt Bielema and the Illini are going to be good, and they had an argument just as much as Ole Miss to get in the playoffs last year. Oh, his wife went to. Your wife went to Bluffton? Oh, man, she's not the upper crust of Bluffton because she didn't go to Norwell. That's interesting. But yeah, SMU is going to be interesting. I want to see what SMU does on defense. BYU, I think Kalani Sitake is a hell of a coach. I mean, I think we've been over this for a while. I think that BYU to me is the favorite to win the Big 12, next behind Iowa State. Alabama on this is who's the starting quarterback at Alabama?
Who is it? Forrest Gump? Is he coming back?
I don't know. They've got to. Bama is 14 because of the brand. Yeah. When it comes to Alabama, between this year and last year, they've lost almost 60 scholarship kids. So,
do we know how many kids hit the portal from Bama's current roster?
Well, after Saban retired, they lost 39 guys coming into the year, and that's not counting what they came up with. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, yeah, I would assume Ty Simpson's going to be the starter until he's not. It's going to be interesting. Hot take, Eamon here. No, Dave's here. No, Michigan's seen them in 9 other polls. Yeah. Did that Eamon here. Hot take, Alabama finishes out of the top 25. Ooh, that's a rough one. And I'm not an Alabama apologist. They got to figure out the quarterback situation.
They just lost a tailback, Haynes, to team up north. I'm sure Dave loves that signing.
Yeah. I think that Ty Simpson should be the starter going forward. Going to be very interesting. I think that what Alabama does on defense is going to be how their season goes. I think Kane Womack was – I think you're put in a tough position whenever you got to come in and try to replace Nick Saban and you lose 39 scholarship guys going into the year. You lose Caleb Downs, you lose Julian Sayin. Your roster got pillaged. So
yeah,
I think if DeBoer took the time in the offseason to rebuild the roster, I think that he is gonna. I think he'll be okay. Illinois is returning a lot of people. I think almost all their rosters coming back, as Dave's here says. I would say Dave would know that. Illinois should be very interesting. I think they're ranked high enough to where they can make a push at the Big Ten. Are they better than Ohio State? I would say no. Penn State, maybe not. They lost to Penn State by a touchdown this year.
Yeah.
Eamon here. SEC is too tough, and Tuscaloosa out of the church car wash money. Yeah, that's rough stuff. We were going through that. I think Alabama is a very interesting thing that we have rolling. I think that one of the other teams that we didn't get to talk about is I'll be interested to see what Missouri and Ole Miss look like. I think Missouri will kind of reload a little bit. They had a real disappointing year, but I think that Drink should get him back. Dave's here. Maybe two of the Natty game starters from Indy to understand they were headed to the bench, so they can't blame them. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute whenever we get to the last segment on the Notre Dame stuff. Everybody has those times to where they can people got to make decisions, and sometimes the decisions that get made for guys to go into the portal aren't always popular or the best decisions, and people don't typically like it or understand. I get where people hate that, but that's where we're at right now. What are your thoughts on roster turnover / retention throughout the playoffs, and some of the guys that entered? Do you think that some of the guys that quit after the Michigan game deserve rings for Ohio State?
Who all quit?
Like Gabe Powers.
I mean, they were part of they quit. So I would say no. If you quit, you don't get a ring. I mean, it'd probably be like the same in high school. If you quit the team, you ain't getting a ring. Amen. Good luck. I got this on Fanatics the day after the Cotton Bowl. So I wore my crew neck last night, and I think they're going for like $500 on eBay.
Yeah, it's
a little pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they shouldn't get rings. They quit on the team, Duke. You stick it out. You don't just quit and be like, nah, I'm done. That's pussy energy.
If anybody's wondering, the NBA All-Stars have been announced.
Oh, they did. Oh. Anybody? I'm sure Mitchell got on there.
Yep, Donovan Mitchell's the only Midwest guy who plays for a Midwest team. I mean, LeBron's an All-Star. Are you shocked?
I am not shocked.
I don't care. There's nothing. We could talk about this. The viewership for the championship game. LeBron. Yeah, I know. I get it.
I think it was like at 22 and a half million.
Yeah, it peaked at 26 million viewers. I think that's something that I don't know. I think they went too long in the season. Like, if they would have done this last week, I think if the championship game would have been last week, I think they would have had better numbers.
Really?
That's what I think.
Well, they would be competing with the NFL for the wild card. Unless
The
you play it
thing.
on a Friday night.
Well, I think they played at dumb times anyway, and I think they need to move the championship game, and yeah, some of it had to do with the inauguration too. I think playing the championship game on Monday night is dumb. They should just play it on Saturday night.
Saturday night, or I'd say play it on a Friday night. Why not?
I don't want to play it on a Friday night. I would say play it on Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. That's what I think it should be. Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. I just don't think putting it on Monday night is beneficial to anybody.
It's too,
Championship game needs to be on New Year's. I don't disagree with that. I mean, Dave's here does have a good point. It doesn't make any sense that OSU and ND had better numbers or didn't have better numbers. The Rose Bowl will never do it. 5 p.m. on 1/1 is the only Rose Bowl they'll ever allow. Yeah, I mean, that's true unless you cram the playoffs into that and move the season up, but I don't know. But they need to have a standalone. They need to have a standalone game for the champion and put it on New Year's so it doesn't mess with the transfer portal. Well, the proposed thing out there is to make every weekend in December the playoffs. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And play the bowl games during the week because no one cares. That's what I think. But I don't want to play games on Friday night. Before the NFL playoff, yeah. I mean, that makes sense because the last 3 weeks of the NFL season were completely almost worthless to a handful of teams.
Did you hear that they're going to try Goodell's trying to extend it to an 18-game season now?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, half the divisions were wrapped up before week 14.
I mean, it's stupid. The 16-game season was perfect. They should have just cut down a preseason game. Is what they should have done. Have just
18 already locked in. I mean, I agree with Carter. It is all about money, but
yeah,
at some point in time, the NFL bubble is going to burst, and I don't know. And people consume it and they love it, and it's just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, I'm guilty of it.
I mean, but here's the thing: the NFL product isn't that good, though.
They need to do away with the Thursday night games. Those games are just so hit or miss. They're just a bore fest most of the time. I think the one good Thursday night game was Tampa and Atlanta. And I'm not tooting my own horn because I'm a Bucs fan, but that game was probably one of the best Thursday night games I've seen since Prime got the NFL rights to have their games.
It's wild that the NFL has done this to themselves. I just there's a lot of games that aren't worth a crap in the last two weeks of the season.
They're essentially like preseason games, Duke.
It's like
week 18 is if you're needing to get into the playoffs, yes, but on the other hand, it's so bad. Like 3-14 Cleveland playing 11-5 Pittsburgh. It doesn't mean. I mean, Pittsburgh's going to beat them.
Yeah, I agree with you on Dave. Dave's here. Can we start a season a week or two earlier if the Natty is a week after New Year's? I think that'd be perfect. I don't disagree. The beginning of August, the problem you have is like if you start the season at the beginning of August, it pushes everything up. So most of your training camp. This is what I think would be a good model. Have the Natty on New Year's Day. Rose Bowl, 5 o'clock. It's the same thing every year. Not the end of the world. And the first 2 rounds should be on campus too. I don't disagree with that, Dave, but they're getting paid so much money from the bowl games. I think it's going to be hard to disagree with that. This is the last thing before we hit the last segment. You know what? I'll think about that, but I'll reset the show here real quick. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over. YouTube, we got tons of people in the chat. Thanks for the people watching on TikTok. We're also live on TikTok as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this show as much as possible. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to take it to the moon. But, all right. Now that we're back, Rich. My proposal is if you're going to move the season up, here's some key things you need to do. If let's say you want to move it up to the first week of August. So you have your 12 games and the buys, so you're done right at Thanksgiving. That week after Thanksgiving, the first week of December is when the playoffs start. And then you pretty much have playoffs the whole week of every week of December, and the NFL wild card doesn't even wild card weekend doesn't even start until the second week of January. So you're completely out of the NFL playoffs. So here's my thing. So the season's over January 1. If you move it up, say 3 weeks, it moves everything else up 3 weeks. Well, my proposal is to get rid of spring football because it's dumb at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to do something, have OTAs and all the mini camp stuff, just like the NFL. And then in April, you have a week period to enter the transfer portal, and this is what I think would solve a lot of it. That whole after the season, after spring football, or you could put it in between spring football and the Natty. That's your only time you can enter the transfer portal. No, I'm going to red shirt and enter the transfer. No, none of that. The coach has got to sign off on it and all. I think that it needs to go back to that. If you can get it to where it's like that, that will fix a lot of this issue, I think, because you have guys that like the dude from UNLV says, well, I'm going to red shirt and I'm just going to be Audi 5. And it's like how you used to have to apply for a red shirt in order to get one. Now, the one thing I do say is now if you're a kid that doesn't have any issues and you want to stay with the program and you didn't play at all, and they're like, hey, we're going to give you an extra year, I don't think that's the end of the world.
No.
But have one portal window so everybody's at the same set of everything. And, you know, you do the OTA, spring ball, whatever you want to call it. And at least you would be on sort of the same cycle as the NFL. That's just my opinion. But if you go back and look at the last week of the regular season, do you want to see the 5-12 Panthers beat the 8-9 Falcons?
No.
What about
at that point you're screwing up with the draft position? It's like, no, I could care less.
The 3-14 Eagles or the 3-14 Giants play the 14-3 Eagles.
Oh man, that'll be such a great matchup. You know, all the guys on the practice squad. Hey, team next year, let's watch them.
The only compelling game from the last week of the season was Vikings-Lions for the division.
Yep. That was the only one that was worth a damn.
I guess you had Bengals-Steelers on Saturday night. That's what it was. What do we got here, Travis? Why can't we name a game on campus a bowl game, for example, qualify? No, they won't ever do that because the Sugar Bowl pays so much money to New Orleans to have it down there that they would never do it on campus because it's a destination spot. And like the All-State Sugar Bowl, they have tons of people from that corporation that come there to the game, and it's like a big schmooze fest. Carter knows a lot about that. So they can't do it. It's so locked into the sites. That's why they got to play them, because they're getting paid so much money. Sid, yeah, I agree with you on that, Sid. They'd never do it, but we'll get to what we got going here. As far as Notre Dame wise, Al Golden out the door, Al Golden out the gate, 88, going back to the NFL. I can't blame Al for this one. Probably getting a hell of a raise. Haven't seen the details of the contract. No more recruiting. No more. A lot of things. He is out the gate to the Cincinnati Bengals. So Marcus is going to be on the look for a new defensive coordinator.
What do you think? What do you think about that hire for Cincinnati?
I don't think that that's a bad hire for Cincinnati. I don't think it's a big splash hire that they were thinking that some of the Bengals fans were wanting. I think that I'm not going to call it a meh hire, but I think it's a good hire. For people that understand and know football, I think it's a good hire.
I think it's a good hire for Cincy. Their defense, they were close to getting the playoffs. Maybe he could fix that defense down there.
But I also think that defense was injured a lot. I think that defense I think they had a lot of issues on that defense. And I don't think the coach was the coordinator was the issue, because you have sometimes that you have units that you'll have a couple guys go down and then the unit just isn't playing well. And the only thing the coordinator can do is call plays. I'm not saying I'm giving the coach 100% pass, but there are also some things that when it comes to the what was going on in Cincinnati, I think it was an injury thing, and I think they had personnel issues. And another thing that I found funny, and I've been fascinated with this, and I hate to do it to the guy, Joe Shane from the Giants. He's from Elkhart, Indiana, so he's basically from South Bend. It's rough because he's the Giants GM, and he is absolutely horrible. If you go back and watch that Hard Knocks, his kid's like, who do you want me to pick? Or he's like, he asks the one kid, who do you want me to pick? And he's like, Jaden Daniels. And he's like, oh, man, we can't pick him. And then he's like, Malik Neighbors. And I'm just like, okay, well, the Neighbors thing. But the handling of the Saquon Barkley and the Danny Dimes comment is just rough. I don't pay my
awful.
I don't pay my quarterback $40 million to hand the ball off. That goes down in football circles as a meme for life. And then you have Mara after they talk to Saquon, and Mara comes in there and says, well, if we don't get Saquon back, I'm not going to sleep well at night. And then Joe Shane, it cuts to, hey, Saquon, yeah, we're going to let you test the market and then come back to us. Watch Marcus hire Laurinaitis. Oh, boy. Yikes. That was on the back of my mind bingo card, but that was not on the frontal lobe, as I would say. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't know if James has got enough experience to be the DC at Notre Dame. I don't know if it would be a bad. James doesn't have enough experience, I would say. Now, in maybe 2 or 3 years,
I don't think that's a
Maybe.
bad idea.
No.
I don't know the Buckeye. You talk about Buckeye Twitter melting down. That would.
Oh, that would complete upheaval.
I don't disagree with that, Carter, at all. I don't disagree. I like that. Knows the system. Been there. The only thing that I worry about is maybe recruiting taking a slight bit of a dip, but I think, having a new defensive coordinator, I think Marcus would be more involved because I feel like Marcus is spending a lot of time on the offensive side of the ball as far as recruiting wise. But, where was I going with that, Rich?
Shit, I don't even know, man.
Oh, Joe Shane.
Shane.
Yes. The Saquon Barkley comment, and then you had Roger Maris comment in the media. I don't know. I think I might have sent it to Carter, but he said, they said, what do you think about this upcoming season? And he just said, it better get fixed, and it better get fixed quick. So I don't know. I don't think Dayball's the problem. I just think that
I think it's Shane.
I think
Shine
it's him
Shane.
because I think he's completely gutted that team. They made the playoffs. Everybody thought it was great. You lose Saquon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. And then the transfer portal casualties coming out of this cycle. We got the last 10 minutes here. Appreciate everybody watching on TikTok and YouTube and the Twitter machine. Sam Pendleton, Pat Coughlin, Rocco Spindler, Jaden Thomas. The Thomas thing.
I'm so surprised Coogan's entering the transfer portal. He was God, country, motherfucking Notre Dame football. And
I think the problem with the Pat deal is that he knows he's not going to play next year. I think that's what it comes down to. I would say that's Sam Pendleton the same way, and Rocco got his ass kicked throughout the playoff run. Notre Dame needs to get better up front. That's something that, was the elephant in the room that nobody did want to talk about a lot of times. I thought the offensive line played well, but they need more skill up front. I mean, it was evident against it needs to get healthy up front. Yeah, I agree with Carter on that. I mean, Pat and Rocco, I thought Rocco was on borrowed time, and if it wasn't for all the injuries, I don't think Rocco would have played this season. I think Rocco was he was in the NFL, he's what you call a cap casualty.
yes.
What I would say. He came in, filled in. I could see Rocco going to a Rutgers, a Minnesota,
somebody in that lower level Big Ten,
Indiana, yeah, like on the lower echelon of college football, but not Group of 5 level. I think that Rocco, he played well for Notre Dame, not the greatest, but that's what it is. And I think Marcus sat down and had tough conversations with people this past
week, couple days.
Yeah, this past couple weeks, and said, look, here's the deal. And the roster limits are going to be taken into account. You've got there's a lot of moving parts in college football right now. Even if they weren't going to start, quality O-line depth is critical. This is a long season now. I think they're losing these guys. I think that losing these guys does hurt. Now, as a Travis, I'll agree with you as far as the depth wise. The big thing is that Notre Dame's got like 3 or 4
guys coming in. Will Black, probably one of the best offensive linemen in the class of 2025 is coming in. I think that it's going to be a very interesting endeavor on how Notre Dame shuffles the offensive line, a mix of older guys, new guys. And you also got to remember you got Charles Jagasaw back that's probably going to take over at left tackle, and then you got to find a place to play for Anthony Knapp, the starting left tackle since the Jagasaw injury. So I don't know if he bumps out to right tackle or if he goes to guard or wherever he goes. So the offensive line room is going to be very competitive at Notre Dame. The big thing that they need to get nailed down is the skill positions. They need to get some wide receivers.
Yeah, I think that's one of their weakest points were the wideouts. Don't get me wrong, Greathouse, that kid. I mean, he showed up. He played a hell of a game Monday night.
Yeah,
but you gotta have that great. You gotta have that long sustainability at wideout, though.
Yeah, and if I got my Bo Collins prediction right. I said that he'd be under. I said for Notre Dame to have a successful season, he needed to be over 500 yards and 50 catches, and he was under both. I mean, they still had a good season, but and I get it. We don't have as many Notre Dame fans in here tonight, but I think that after losing a big game like that, everybody is kind of footballed out, and I understand that. It's not the most ideal. You see your team make it all the way there on not a Cinderella run, but a run. It's going to be interesting. Starting QB for Indy. I think it's going to be CJ Carr, starting quarterback at Notre Dame.
Not Angeli.
See, the problem with Angeli is that I think that I think I would be shocked to see if Kenny Minchie hangs around, because if Angeli bolts, one of either Minchie or Angeli is gonna hit the road. That's what I think is gonna happen. And Rich hit the wrong button.
I don't know what's going on my camera.
And the last 3 minutes before we close this thing out, Sunday, Washington, Philly, Buffalo, KC. Who we liking?
Give me an old early rematch from the 90s Super Bowl. Buffalo and Washington. I really like Jane Daniels. That kid, he's come along so well this whole season. I'm really rooting for him to shock Philly and have all those Philly fans be just utterly butthurt. Plus Terry McLaurin and Marshawn from being Ohio State. I'm rooting for those guys too to hopefully get in the Super Bowl.
Real quick back on this. Yeah, I thought Angeli did look good. I think his pocket presence was a little rough.
Yeah.
He did take a sack that looked bad. I don't know. It'll be interesting, Travis, on how all this shakes out. Out of this, who I want to win and who I think is going to win, I would like to see Washington win, and I'd like to see Buffalo win. But I think we're getting a rematch.
Was it Super Bowl 58?
Yeah. Kansas City, Philly. That's what I think is going to happen.
That's probably what they want. It's probably what Vegas wants.
I don't even. It'll probably be 1 point again.
Well, and the other thing too is, don't forget Buffalo's playing against the refs too, because Mahomes loves flopping like Anderson Varejao.
Yeah. So Sid is right. Angeli has no legs. So Yeah, that's just one of those things. Yeah, no pocket awareness, but that's just one thing. Before we close it out here, Rich, do you got any parting thoughts? What up, D?
No parting thoughts. Just it's a sad day for college football for the next 8 months, 7 months.
I think it's just right around 200 days before college football, like 220 days before we have college football again. I don't know.
I will tell
Um,
you, I will be watching the UFL. I don't care what people say.
I don't know if I'm gonna watch the UFL.
I
Sid,
am.
appreciate you, big dog.
Thanks, Sid.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm watching the UFL or not.
You're missing out, Duke.
Yeah. I don't know. But with
Hey,
that being said,
Adrian Martinez was pretty damn good last year for Birmingham. It was
yeah.
criminal what Scott Frost had on it. What Scott Frost did in Nebraska with him.
Oh, I completely agree. It's going to be an interesting endeavor, but so with that being said, everybody hit that like and subscribe button. We're getting ready to close up shop for the evening. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe. We had Travis, Sid, and Eamon all night long being active in the chat. That helps us out big time, and we're trying to grow this show. So with that being said, everybody hit the like and subscribe, and have a good night.
Have a great night, everybody.
Later.